Good evening, Endeavour. I am back to read you the next instalment, ready for Tuesday the 30th of June. And we're in chapter 16 in the library at Mucklethrift Manor, where I've got a feeling that Mayor Walter Tweed has got a few things he wants to say to Uncle Edward, who says he's been at school with him. Let's find out. The library at Mucklethrift Manor, a few seconds later. Get out of that, you cry. Uncle Edward could talk his way out of the chains of the Caucasus Mountains, but this one very nasty little position to be in. He had talked his way past the butler, but Mayor Walter Tweed was no fool, and he wasn't going to be fooled. We were all heading for the gallows, but just not quite yet. "What's your game?" the little mayor demanded. "Game, my old friend? No game," Uncle Edward laughed. He had a light and happy laugh. It was the laugh he used when he was desperate. "I gave your name to Mr. Mucklethrift so he could perform in his home. We are here to do a show, and then we'll be on our way. There's no harm done." "You showed the butler a letter for me," the mayor accused. "A little forgery, no harm done. I would have come to you for a letter, but you are so important these days." Mayor Tweed's chest went out like a pigeon's. "I am rather important," he said, "and your secretary won't let me in to see you," Uncle Edward lied. "I am a very busy man," said the mayor. "I know, we didn't want to waste your precious time." "Quite right. We knew you'd sign a paper if you had time. We just didn't want to trouble you," Uncle Edward finished. The mayor nodded. "Strictly speaking, you forged my name." Uncle Edward put on his ashamed face and looked at the floor like a naughty child. "I know, Willie." "Wally," I hissed. I know, Wooly." "Wally." "Don't let it happen again." "No, I won't, Welly." "Wally." The mayor turned the door handle and opened it enough to let the hall light flood in. Uncle Edward raised a fist in victory, and the mayor stopped. He turned, he frowned, he squinted his rattlesnake squint. "Hang on," he said. I wished he hadn't used the word hang. "Hang on, why would I have signed the paper if I'd have had time?" he demanded. "To say it was all right for us to enter into Mr. Mucklethrift's home," Theus put in. Mayor Tweed shook his weedy head. "I mean, why would I want to sign it?" "Because you were tortured in school with Mr. Slaughter," Theus explained. "He means," I put in quickly, "because you went to school together." "But I never went to school with this man." "Yes, you did, Willie," Uncle Edward said, and gave that light laugh again. "I didn't. You are a lot older than me." "No, I'm not," Uncle Edward replied, and looked set for an argument. This would ruin everything. "He has a lot to make up for, so he will look for a drama," I explained. "He's really only 42. "I'm only 39, Mayor Tweed snapped. 39 I am, my old friend," Uncle Edward said. "I don't remember your face," he said. "Oh, it's the make-up. I'm an actor, a master of disguise." "I certainly do not remember your name," the mayor said with a grim grin. "Oh, I've changed my name. Slaughter is my stage name." "What's your real name, then?" the mayor shot back. Uncle Edward's mouth opened and closed like a trout in a fishing net, gasping and grasping for some life. "Don't you remember an Edward in your class? It was that old trick again. Get the victim to tell you the answer." It always worked for Uncle Edward. Mayor Tweed's eyes were as cloudy as a storm. I knew then he was a better actor than Uncle Edward. I knew there was a trap coming and I couldn't stop it. "I remember there was an Edward Casper," he said. "That's me!" Uncle Edward cried, and he stepped forward to hug Walter Tweed like a long-lost school friend. The mayor stepped back and he appeared to grow 6 inches. "There was no Edward Casper in my class," he said coldly. "You are a phony." "No." "A fraud." "No." "A fake." "No." "And I know who you are. As Mayor of Eden City, I pick the men I want on our police force. Sergeant Sargent is one of my trusty men. He told me about 2 tricksters headed for Eden City, a man and a boy wanted for cunning robberies. I guess that's you 2, the mayor said in triumph. "What about me?" Theus asked. The mayor turned on him. Don't know about you. Probably some stooge they picked up in the bar to carry away the loot. But you can hang alongside them." "Thank you," Theus said cheerfully. "We haven't robbed anyone in Eden City," I said desperately. "Not yet you haven't," the mayor said, "but you're going to." There was a silence in the room. The sound of the hall clock came ticking through the door, along with the sound of the rich folk gathering in the drawing room next door. "You're going to rob this house," the mayor said. "Tonight." "You planned it," he said. "We are," Uncle Edward said. "You'll have us all hanged," I said. The mayor gave a smile of a lizard and licked his lips with his reptile tongue. Not if you give me half, he said. Uncle Edward was quick to understand, but Theus was shocked. You plan to rob your own friend, he said. I rob the rich because they can afford it, Mayor Tweed said calmly. Would you want me to rob the poor? No, Theus said, but... Theus, leave us, Uncle Edward ordered. See that the ladies and gentlemen are in their seats and tell them the show will start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes are all Mayor Tweed and I need to sort out our little problem. Theus shook his head and left the room. Uncle Edward spoke briskly. You'll keep Sergeant off our trail? Of course, I will say my old school friend Edward Slaughter is as honest as the day is long. I will tell him that there are reports that the trickster man and the boy were seen getting on the mail train earlier this evening. Good. We will take all the valuables we can find and get them back to our inn, Uncle Edward said. You can meet us there and take your share. The mayor looked pleased with that. Where are you staying? At the Lost Duck, Uncle Edward said. Where's that? It's the last inn on the South Road. I'll find it, Mayor Tweed said. Uncle Edward opened the door and hurried him into the hall. We'll meet there at midnight, he said. Now we must get on with the show. The mayor stretched out a weedy hand. A pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Slaughter. Edward, please. Old school friends should call one another by their first names, Willie. Wally. Wooly. The mayor slipped into the drawing room where a woman was squawking a song to a tune from a badly played piano. We stood at the door and waited to make our entrance. We'll be on the midnight train out of town while he's looking for the lost duck, I said. Uncle Edward looked smug. Oh dear, so we will. What a shame. I would rather have the mayor on my side than against me. Uncle Edward was taking a risk with our necks. A big risk. You're planning to double-cross him? I asked. Uncle chuckled. Single-cross him? Single-cross. I will only do it once. How right he was. How wickedly right he was. Now join me tomorrow